I have been thinking about something lately. Something that's been gnawing at me, keeping me up at night. And I realized it's time we had a talk about it. It's time we talked about the things in life that are non-negotiable. The things you should never, ever give up, no matter who's asking or what they're offering. Now, I'm not talking about your favorite coffee mug or that lucky pair of socks. I'm talking about the big stuff. The stuff that makes you, well, you. The stuff that, if you lose it, you might as well be losing a part of your soul. So, let's get down to business. The 4 things you should never sacrifice for anyone. Not for your boss, not for your partner, not even for your own mother. These are the pillars of your life, and if you knock them down, the whole structure comes tumbling after. Number 1, your dreams. First on our list, and boy, is it a big one. Your dreams, your aspirations, your vision for your life. These aren't just idle fantasies, folks. These are the fuel that keeps you moving forward when everything else is trying to hold you back. I remember a young man I met once. His name is Tom. Tom had a dream of starting his own business. He'd been working on it for years, planning, saving, preparing. But then he met a girl. And this girl, she had different plans. She wanted the white picket fence, the 9-to-5 job, the predictable life. And Tom, he loved her. So he started to think, maybe I should give up on this business idea. Maybe I should settle for a regular job. Now, I'm not here to tell you that love isn't important. It is. If you give up your dreams for someone else, you're not just letting yourself down. You're letting down everyone who believes in you. You're letting down the world that needs your unique contribution. Tom, he came to his senses. He realized that his dream wasn't just about him. It was about creating something, contributing something. And you know what? That girl, she came around too. She saw his passion, his drive, and she fell in love with that all over again. Your dreams are not negotiable. They're not something you can trade away for a moment of peace or someone else's approval. Your dreams are your North Star. They guide you. They shape you. They make you who you are. Your dreams aren't just for you. They're for everyone whose lives you will touch when you achieve them. The people you will inspire, the problems you will solve, the world you will change. That's not something you can just give away. Think about all the great innovators and changemakers throughout history. Do you think Thomas Edison gave up on his dream of the light bulb when people told him it was impossible? Do you think Martin Luther King Jr. abandoned his dream of equality when faced with opposition? Do you think any great achievement in human history came from someone who was willing to sacrifice their dreams for a more practical path? No. The people who change the world, who push humanity forward, are the ones who hold on to their dreams with an unshakable grip. They're the ones who say, this matters, this is important, and I'm going to make it happen, no matter what. I knew another person, let's call her Sarah. Sarah had a dream of becoming a doctor since she was a little girl. She wanted to help people, to make a difference in their lives. But as she grew older, the voices around her grew louder. Medical school is too expensive, they said. It's too competitive, they warned. Why don't you choose an easier path? For a while, Sarah listened to these voices. She changed her major to business, thinking it was the sensible choice. But you know what happened? She was miserable. She felt like she was living someone else's life, not her own. It took Sarah a year of soul searching to realize that she couldn't give up on her dream. She switched back to pre-med, worked harder than she ever had before. And guess what? She got into medical school. Today, she's a successful pediatrician, changing lives every single day. That's the power of holding on to your dreams. It's not just about personal fulfillment, although that's certainly part of it. It's about becoming the person you're meant to be. It's about making the unique contribution to the world that only you can make. So the next time someone tells you to be realistic, to grow up, to give up on your dreams, you look them straight in the eye and you say, not a chance. Because your dreams are not for sale, not at any price. Your dreams are your purpose, your passion, your reason for being. They're what get you out of bed in the morning, what keep you going when things get tough. Don't let anyone tell you they're impractical or unrealistic. The most impractical thing you can do is to live someone else's life instead of your own. Guard your dreams. Nurture them. Pursue them with everything you've got. Because they're not just dreams. They're your purpose, your passion, your reason for being. And that's not something you can afford to sacrifice. Number 2, your integrity. The second thing you should never sacrifice, your integrity, your values, your principles, the core of who you are. Integrity isn't just about being honest, although that's certainly part of it. Integrity is about being whole, being consistent. It's about knowing who you are and what you stand for, and sticking to that, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I knew a woman once, a brilliant businesswoman, Lisa. Lisa had built her company from the ground up, based on principles of fair trade and sustainability. But then, a big corporation came knocking. They offered her millions to buy her out. The catch? They wanted to change everything. Cut corners, use cheaper materials, exploit workers. Okay. Now, Lisa, she was tempted. Who wouldn't be? That kind of money could set her up for life. But she knew that if she took that deal, she'd be betraying everything she stood for. Everything her company stood for. It wasn't an easy decision. She lost sleep over it. But in the end, she turned them down. And you know what? Her business thrived. Because her customers knew they could trust her. They knew she stood for something. That's the power of integrity, folks. It's not always the easy path, but it's the path that lets you sleep at night. It's the path that earns you respect, not just from others, but from yourself. Your integrity is your brand. It's your promise to the world about who you are and what you stand for. And once you break that promise, it's hard to get people to trust you again. Would you rather do business with someone who always tells you the truth, even when it's not in their best interest, or someone who will say anything to make a sale? Would you rather work for a boss who stands by their word, or one who changes the rules whenever it suits them? Would you rather have a friend who's always got your back, or one who's only there when it's convenient for them? Integrity isn't just about big, dramatic moments of truth. It's about the small decisions you make every day. It's about returning the extra change when the cashier makes a mistake. It's about giving credit to your coworker for their idea, even when you could have claimed it as your own. It's about admitting your mistakes and taking responsibility for your actions. These might seem like small things, but they add up. They shape your character. They define who you are. And over time, they determine how others see you and how you see yourself. I remember a young man I met. Let's call him Mike. Mike was just starting out in his career, eager to make a good impression. One day, his boss asked him to fudge some numbers on a report. Nothing major, just make things look a little better than they were. Mike was torn. He didn't want to lie, but he was afraid of losing his job if he refused. In that moment, Mike had to decide what kind of person he wanted to be. He chose integrity. He respectfully told his boss that he couldn't manipulate the numbers. He expected to be fired on the spot. But you know what happened? His boss respected him for it. That act of integrity set Mike apart, and he went on to have a successful career, known for his honesty and trustworthiness. But here's the thing about integrity. It's not something you can turn on and off. You can't be a person of integrity in your personal life, but leave your ethics at the door when you go to work. You can't stand for honesty and fairness most of the time, but make exceptions when it's convenient. Integrity is all or nothing. It's a way of life. It's a commitment to always do what you believe is right, regardless of the consequences. And yes, sometimes maintaining your integrity will cost you. You might lose out on opportunities. You might face criticism or opposition. You might even suffer financial losses in the short term. But the cost of losing your integrity is far greater. Because when you sacrifice your integrity, you're not just making a bad business decision or a social faux pas. You're chipping away at your own foundation. You're eroding the very thing that makes you, you. So, when someone asks you to compromise your values, to do something you know isn't right, you stand firm. You say, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and that's not for sale. Because at the end of the day, your integrity is all you really have. It's the only thing that's truly yours. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Number 3, your health. The third thing on our list is something that people sacrifice all too often, and usually without even realizing it. I'm talking about your health, folks. Your physical and mental well-being. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I need to work hard to get ahead. I need to push myself to the limit. And sure, hard work is important. But let me tell you something. If you sacrifice your health to get ahead, you're making a deal with the devil. And sooner or later, the devil always comes to collect. I remember a colleague of mine, let's call him Steve. Steve was a workaholic. He'd be in the office before sunrise and leave long after dark. He skipped meals, lived on coffee and energy drinks, barely slept. And for a while, it seemed to be paying off. He was climbing the corporate ladder, making big deals, earning big bonuses. But then one day, it all came crashing down. Steve had a heart attack at 35 years old. And suddenly, all those deals, all those bonuses, they didn't mean a thing. Because what good is success if you're not around to enjoy it? Your health isn't just about avoiding sickness. It's about having the energy, the vitality to truly live your life, to pursue your dreams, to spend time with your loved ones, to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And it's not just about physical health either. Your mental health is just as important. The stress, the anxiety, the burnout that comes from constantly pushing yourself too hard, that takes a toll. And it's a toll that's not always easy to see until it's too late. I knew a woman. She was a high-powered attorney, always taking on more cases, always burning the midnight oil. She prided herself on her ability to work harder and longer than anyone else. But as the years went by, she started to change. She became irritable, anxious, unable to sleep. She lost interest in the things she used to love. It took a complete breakdown for she to realize she had been neglecting her mental health for years. She wrote to recovery wasn't easy. She had to learn to prioritize her well-being, to set boundaries, to say no. But when she did, she didn't just recover. She thrived. She found a new balance in her life, and ironically, became even more successful in her career. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start treating your health like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. Get enough sleep. Eat well. Exercise. Take breaks. Meditate. Do whatever you need to do to keep your body and mind in top shape. And the next time someone asks you to sacrifice your health for a job, for a promotion, for anything, you say no. You tell them, my health is not negotiable. It's not a resource to be exploited. It's the foundation of everything else in my life. Because without your health, you've got nothing. All the money, all the success in the world won't mean a thing if you're too sick or too stressed to enjoy it. Your health is your wealth, folks. Guard it jealously. Remember, you're not a machine. You can't just keep going and going without maintenance. You need rest. You need nourishment. You need time to recharge. When you take care of your health, you're not just benefiting yourself. You're benefiting everyone around you. You're able to be more present for your loved ones. You're able to bring more energy and creativity to your work. You're able to contribute more to your community. He was always the first to volunteer for overtime, the last to leave the office. He prided himself on his work ethic. But at home, he was always too tired to play with his kids, too stressed to really connect with his wife. It wasn't until his daughter asked him, Dad, why are you always too busy for us? That he realized the true cost of neglecting his health and work-life balance. He made a change. He started prioritizing his health, both physical and mental. He set boundaries at work, made time for exercise, started eating better. And you know what? Not only did his relationships improve, but he actually became more productive at work. Because when you're healthy, when you're balanced, you bring your best self to everything you do. So prioritizing your health isn't selfish. It's one of the most selfless things you can do. Because by taking care of yourself, you're ensuring that you can continue to take care of others and contribute to the world around you. Don't wait until your body forces you to slow down. Don't wait until stress and burnout rob you of your passion and creativity. Start prioritizing your health now. Make it a non-negotiable part of your life. Because when you have your health, you have everything. You have the energy to pursue your dreams. You have the clarity of mind to make good decisions. You have the vitality to enjoy your relationships and your achievements. So, guard your health. Protect it. Nurture it. Because it's not just about living longer. It's about living better. It's about having the health and energy to truly make the most of every day you're given. Number 4, your time. And now we come to the fourth and final thing you should never sacrifice: your time. Now you might be thinking, but we all have to make sacrifices with our time. We have jobs, responsibilities, and you're right. We all have obligations. But I'm not talking about the normal give and take of daily life. I'm talking about consistently sacrificing your time in ways that don't align with your values and goals. Time, you see, is the most precious resource we have. It's the one thing we can never get back, never make more of. And yet, so many of us treat it like it's infinite. We waste it, we give it away, we let others control it. I once met a man, he was always saying yes. Yes to extra projects at work. Yes to organizing the neighborhood barbecue. Yes, to helping his sister-in-law move. Yes, yes, yes. And on the surface, it seemed like he was a great guy. Always helping, always there for everyone. But you know what? He was miserable. He had no time for himself. No time for his own dreams and goals. He was so busy living everyone else's life that he forgot to live his own. Now, don't get me wrong. Helping others is important. Being there for your community is important. But not at the expense of your own life, your own dreams. Your time is your life. It's the canvas on which you paint your dreams, your experiences, your relationships. And if you're constantly giving that canvas away to others, what are you left with? I knew a woman. Let's call her Emma. Emma was a people pleaser. She could never say no to anyone. If a friend asked for help, she'd drop everything. If her boss needed someone to work late, she'd volunteer. If her family wanted her to attend an event, she'd rearrange her entire schedule. But as the years went by, Emma realized something. She had achieved none of her personal goals. She hadn't written that book she'd always dreamed of. She hadn't learned to play the guitar. She hadn't even taken that vacation she'd been planning for years. She'd been so busy living up to everyone else's expectations that she'd forgotten about her own dreams. It took a wake-up call for Emma to realize the value of her time. She started setting boundaries. She learned to say no. She carved out time for herself, for her passions, for her growth. And you know what happened? Her life transformed. Emma finally wrote that book she'd been dreaming about for years. She took up painting and discovered a talent she never knew she had. She deepened her relationships because when she was with people, she was truly present, not just physically there, while her mind was on the next thing she had to do. Emma's career didn't suffer. In fact, it flourished. Because when she was at work, she was focused, energized, and creative. She brought her whole self to her job, not just the exhausted leftovers of a person spread too thin. That's the power of guarding your time, folks. It's not about being selfish. It's about being intentional. It's about making sure that the limited time you have on this earth is spent in ways that align with your values, your goals, your dreams. Imagine you had a bank account that credited you with $86,400 every morning. It carries over no balance from day to day. Every evening, whatever you failed to use during the day is deleted. What would you do? You'd withdraw every cent, right? Well, guess what? You do have such a bank account. It's called time. Every morning, you're credited with 86,400 seconds. Every night, whatever you failed to invest in a good purpose is lost. It carries over no balance. It allows no overdraft. Each day, the account is refilled, but the bank can dissolve your account at any time without warning. So, what are you doing with your daily deposit of 86,400 seconds? Are you spending it on things that matter to you? Or are you letting others dictate how you use it? My friend Jack was always complaining about not having enough time. He'd say, "If only I had more hours in the day, I could learn to play the piano. I could start that business I have been dreaming about. I could spend more time with my kids." Jack did have time. He just wasn't using it wisely. He'd spend hours scrolling through social media. He'd watch TV shows he didn't even enjoy, just because they were on. He'd say yes to every invitation, even when he didn't want to go. One day, Jack decided to track how he spent his time for a week. And boy, was it a wake-up call. He realized he was wasting hours every day on things that didn't bring him joy or move him closer to his goals. That's when Jack decided to take control of his time. He set clear priorities. He started saying no to things that didn't align with those priorities. He carved out specific times for the things that mattered to him. And you know what? Within a year, Jack had learned to play the piano. He had started his side business. And his kids? They couldn't believe how much more present and engaged their dad was. That's the power of valuing your time, folks. It's about being intentional with this precious, non-renewable resource. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start guarding your time like it's the treasure it is. Learn to say no. Learn to set boundaries. Learn to prioritize the things that truly matter to you. When someone asks for your time, I want you to stop and think. Ask yourself, is this aligned with my values? Is this moving me closer to my goals? Is this how I want to spend my limited time on this earth? And if the answer is no, then you need to be strong. You need to say, I'm sorry, but my time is not available for that. It might feel uncomfortable at first. People might not understand, but that's okay, because your time is yours, and you have the right, no, the responsibility to use it in a way that serves your purpose. Remember, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Make sure you're saying yes to the right things. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but what about responsibilities? What about obligations? And you're right. We all have those. But even within our responsibilities, we have choices about how we spend our time. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was a busy mom with 3 kids and a full-time job. She felt like she never had a moment to herself. But then she started looking at her time differently. She realized that while she couldn't eliminate her responsibilities, she could approach them more efficiently. She started meal prepping on Sundays, which freed up time during the week. She taught her kids to do age-appropriate chores, which not only gave her more time, but also taught them valuable life skills. She started waking up 30 minutes earlier each day for some quiet time to herself. These small changes added up. Suddenly, Sarah found she had time to take an online course she'd been interested in. She had time to start a small garden. She even had time to volunteer at her local community center once a month. Sarah's story teaches us an important lesson. Even when we feel like all our time is spoken for, there are often ways to reclaim some of it. It's about being creative, being efficient, and most importantly, being intentional. Something that's become a massive time sink for many of us: technology. Don't get me wrong, technology is amazing. It's revolutionized our world in countless positive ways. But it's also become one of the biggest thieves of our time. How many of you have ever picked up your phone to check one quick thing, and suddenly an hour has passed? How many of you spend more time scrolling through social media than you do pursuing your passions? I want you to think about this. Every minute you spend mindlessly scrolling is a minute you're not spending on your dreams, your relationships, your personal growth. I'm not saying you need to give up technology, but I am saying you need to be intentional about how you use it. Set boundaries. Maybe it's no phones at the dinner table. Maybe it's no social media after 9 p.m. Maybe it's designating certain days as digital detox days. Whatever it is, take control. Don't let technology control you. Use it as a tool to enhance your life, not as an escape from it. Now, let's circle back to something we touched on earlier: the power of saying no. This is crucial when it comes to protecting your time. But I know it's not easy. We're social creatures. We want to please others. We fear missing out. Saying no to things that don't align with your priorities is saying yes to the things that do. It's saying yes to your dreams, your goals, your well-being. I want you to start thinking of your time as a precious commodity. Before you commit to anything, ask yourself, is this worth an hour of my life, a day of my life, a week of my life? Because that's what you're giving up when you say yes. Now, I'm not saying you should never do anything for others. Generosity is important. Helping others is important. But it shouldn't come at the cost of your own dreams and well-being. There's a difference between being generous and being a doormat. Remember Emma, who we talked about earlier? She learned to be selective about where she gave her time. She still helped others, but she did it in ways that aligned with her values and goals. She volunteered at a literacy program, combining her love of books with her desire to give back. She mentored young women in her field, which not only helped them, but also enhanced her own career. That's the key, folks. It's not about never giving your time to others. It's about being intentional about where you give it. It's about making sure that when you do give your time, it's in alignment with who you are and who you want to be. Our society often equates busyness with importance, with success. We wear our packed schedules like badges of honor. But being busy isn't the same as being productive. It's not the same as being fulfilled. In fact, sometimes the busiest people are the ones who are the least fulfilled, because they're so caught up in the whirlwind of activity that they've lost sight of what truly matters to them. I want you to start valuing your quiet time, your downtime, your thinking time. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. They're the times when we recharge, when we reflect, when we connect with ourselves and our loved ones. Some of the most successful and fulfilled people I know are those who fiercely protect their downtime. They understand that it's in these quiet moments that creativity flourishes, that big ideas are born, that we connect with what truly matters. So don't feel guilty about taking time for yourself. Don't apologize for saying no to an invitation because you need some quiet time. This isn't selfish. This is self-care. And when you take care of yourself, you're better able to take care of others and contribute to the world. I want to leave you with one final thought. Time is the great equalizer. No matter who you are, where you come from, how much money you have, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. The difference lies in how we use them. Your time is your life. It's the only life you have. Don't let it slip away on things that don't matter. Don't let others dictate how you spend it. Take control. Be intentional. Prioritize. Say no to the unimportant so you can say yes to the essential. Remember, at the end of your life, you won't wish you'd spent more time at the office, or more time scrolling through social media, or more time saying yes to things you didn't really want to do. You will wish you'd spent more time pursuing your passions, more time with your loved ones, more time becoming the person you were meant to be. So starting today, I want you to make a commitment to yourself, a commitment to value your time, to protect it, to use it wisely. Because when you do that, you're not just managing your schedule, you're crafting your life. You're ensuring that the limited time you have on this earth is spent in a way that's true to who you are and who you want to be. Your dreams, your integrity, your health, and your time. These are the 4 things you should never sacrifice. They're the pillars that hold up the structure of a fulfilling, authentic life. Guard them fiercely. Protect them at all costs. Because they are what make you who you are. They are what give your life meaning and purpose. When you stand firm on these things, when you refuse to compromise on what truly matters, that's when life gets really interesting. That's when you start attracting the right kind of people, the right kind of opportunities. That's when you start making a real difference in the world. Because the world doesn't need more people who are willing to give up on their dreams. It doesn't need more people who are willing to compromise their integrity. It doesn't need more people who are willing to sacrifice their health or give away their time. What the world needs is people who know who they are and what they stand for. People who are willing to pursue their dreams with passion and perseverance. People who maintain their integrity even when it's difficult. People who value their health and use their time wisely. In short, the world needs you, the real you. The you that emerges when you refuse to sacrifice these 4 essential things. So I challenge you, starting today, make a commitment to yourself. A commitment to honor your dreams, to maintain your integrity, to protect your health, and to value your time. It won't always be easy. There will be times when you're tempted to give in, to compromise. But in those moments, I want you to remember this talk. I want you to remember that you have a choice, that you have the power to say no to things that don't serve you, and yes to the things that do. When you refuse to sacrifice these 4 things, you're not just benefiting yourself. You're benefiting everyone around you. You're setting an example. You're showing others what's possible when you stay true to yourself and your values. You're showing that it's possible to pursue your dreams without compromising your integrity. That it's possible to be successful without sacrificing your health. That it's possible to make a difference in the world while still valuing your own time. And that, my friends, is how you change the world. Not by giving up who you are to fit someone else's mold, but by being uncompromisingly, unapologetically yourself. So go out there. Pursue your dreams with everything you've got. Stand firm in your integrity, even when it's difficult. Protect your health like the precious resource it is. And use your time in ways that truly matter to you. Because when you do that, when you refuse to sacrifice these 4 essential things, that's when you start truly living. That's when you start making a real difference. That's when you become the person you were always meant to be. And let me tell you, there's no greater success than that. There's no greater achievement than being true to yourself and living a life that aligns with your values and dreams. So remember, your dreams, your integrity, your health, and your time. These are non-negotiable. These are the things you should never sacrifice, no matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone offers. Guard them, protect them, honor them, and watch as your life transforms into something truly extraordinary. Because you, my friend, are capable of extraordinary things, but only if you stay true to yourself. Only if you refuse to sacrifice the things that truly matter. So go out there and live your life, your way, on your terms, without sacrifice, without compromise. Because that's when the magic happens. That's when you truly start to live. Thank you.